Gang, it's the Squatch Detective Steve Culls here. Tonight's show's sponsor is Coursera. If you're looking to level up your skills or explore a new field, Coursera has you covered. With more than 7,000 courses from top universities and companies, you can learn anything from data science to business, even psychology, at your own pace. Whether you're aiming to advance your career or just learning for fun, Coursera is the place to be. And the best part? Many courses are free to check out, and if you choose to opt for the monthly plan, you've got a 7-day free trial to see if it fits your needs. And for a limited time, you can save 40% off a year's subscription. Follow the link in the show description to start your new education today.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Culls, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D TV. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
Boom! Hey, what's going on there? Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, December 29th, 2024. I'm your host, your guide, Squatch Detective Steve Culls, along with my co-host right down there, Mr. Chris Bennett. What's up, Chris?
Hey, man, it's good to see you. Hope everything went well for you this Christmas holiday in New York. Santa Claus has behaved himself, and, or did you get cold?
I got lots of coal.
I was kind of hoping for cold. You know, it's been cold here in Kentucky.
Throw it in the furnace.
Exactly. That's right.
Well, I got to say, it was a great, I hope everybody out there had a Merry Christmas last week.
Yes.
And here we are in the final few days of 2024. And boy, I got to say, it's going out really weirdly this year.
Yeah.
A lot of tragedy.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a second. But, the weather, Mother Nature is schizophrenic. It was like sub-zero a few days after Christmas, and now we're back in the 40s.
Yeah. Well, today wasn't too bad. I think we had like some 60-degree weather, but that's still, or upper 50s. But, it's not too bad considering we're almost right here at January.
Yes.
Global warming, yes. Bring it on. I love it. More of it, please.
Yes. So I got to say, what a week it's been. We had the plane shot down in Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
Then we had that horrible South Korean plane crash. I don't know if you'd seen that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Horrible. And there is something intrinsically wrong with that landing. There's a lot of video going on about, some people are saying it's a bird strike, but I had a pilot say it looks like something in the engine let loose. That wasn't a bird strike, right? But what I'm thinking is, because they noticed that when the plane had landed, it didn't have its flaps down. It didn't have its landing gear down or anything like that. Right.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking that was a hydraulic line. That would explain why it couldn't release the flaps and why it couldn't release the landing gear, because that all works on hydraulics. But
they've got procedures. They can bring one in on its belly if the landing gear won't come down. And one of the things you're supposed to, unless they've changed it, you're supposed to dump the fuel first,
right? and Smedley Durace says amazing people survived those airliner crashes. Actually, the one in Azerbaijan, nobody survived. And only 2 people out of 181 survived the one in Korea. And they were at the very, very back. And they were 2 crew members who were strapped into the final 2 jump seats of the plane.
Oh, man. They had more people died in the first one. I thought that they said they had a lot of people survived.
Oh, maybe so. Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
But now the second one, man, that was a fireball.
Nobody expected to survive that. But then there's a lot of questioning, like, why did that airport used a concrete retaining wall to what it crashed into is a concrete retaining wall. And in airports in the United States, they're not held up with a concrete retaining wall. They may be held up with cinder block, which give way when something hits it. Right. Or they may just be propped up and put in the ground. But for some reason, they decided to put in this rock hard concrete wall to keep these plastic poles up in place.
Wow.
So,
man, I swear it's something. And then the first one that's supposedly, they say they don't know what happened to it. We don't know what happened to it, but there's all kinds of holes in the fuselage. Like, well, somebody shot this thing down, dude. I mean, look at the sheet metal.
The Beatron says, I heard the 737 has a gravity drop option for the gear. That may, from what I understand, they have a crank. They have to crank them. Now, think of the situation. If they did lose their hydraulic lines, it may have taken 2 pilots just to keep that plane in the air and stabilized. So a lot of this is going to be on the flight data recorder and perhaps the
that's weird.
The voice cockpit recorder, which they, from what last I heard, they had not yet to recover. So
there should have been some backups in there for them to help them out, but something was not working in their favor. Either that, or they just maybe they may not have time. No. We'll find out from the in-flight recorder, I guess.
So let's do our roll call, and also, I got to say this: we also had the death of President Jimmy Carter today.
Oh yeah,
which
100 years old.
100 years old. My God, 1924 was 100 years ago. That's to somebody my age, that's amazing. Because I was thinking, when I was born, 1924 was only 45 years ago.
Yeah.
But anyway. Let's get in. First in tonight was Mitch Hargrove, your first today.
Welcome.
And then, of course, we got Grasshopper, Walter Kroll, Roy Longley. How are you, Roy? Danny Weeks. Hello, Karen Fisher.
Roy is representing the lurkers. We appreciate the lurkers, too.
That's right. Sharon, good to see you. The Bat Mom, Tessa, what's going on? Grant Rasha is back. Hello, Grant. Thank you much for the kind words. Sandra Piper, hello.
Sandra.
Danny Weeks, hello. Smedley Do Right is in the house.
Smedley.
Don Come Out Jr. Nikki Sasquatch Secrets, hello. Grasshopper, how can we forget Grasshopper? Kaiju Ninja 1985, what's going on, brother?
Good to see you.
Ristel, of course. Ristel is always here. That's Susie Monster as well. Hello, Susie. Good to see you. Poncho Zorch, good to see you too. Another one of our newer members. Good to see him constantly being here. Hello, Poncho. Good to see you. Who else? Walter Kroll. Hello, Walter. What's going on? Jen the Bouncer is in the house with her office assistant, Baron, I'm sure. My office assistant is still chomping down on his Christmas present, his bone. And we got him real ham bones. And they chewed all the ends off them. Now he's after the marrow is what he's after.
Oh yeah.
So the Beatron in the house, of course. Brian S. Good to see you, Brian.
Brian.
Who else? Mick is in the house with the belated Merry Christmas to all.
Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm lost.
Curious Cryptid Steve, what's going on, brother man, up there in the Great Pacific Northwest? Gary Johnson Sr., hello. Who else?
Jennifer Andrews.
Jennifer Andrews, welcome. Good to see you here. Welcome aboard. And for all our new members, we got a lot of new members this week. Hello and welcome. Get your feet up, get your favorite beverage, your favorite snack, get your feet up and enjoy. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight talking about some things. All right. I think
that's everybody.
That's everybody.
Brian S. Brian.
And Jen says her office assistant got a squeaky hedgehog that promptly got de-squeakied. That's the shepherd in the house. She'll go right after that squeaker.
At one time, in the past, we had bought pig ears for our Yorkies. Now they're not, they're like leather. Okay, they're cured pig ears, and you can get them at the Rural King or farm stores. And we gave them each a pig ear. Well, that was a mistake because we've got 9 Yorkies. They would hide them around the house, So like for a week, we had problems with one Yorkie stealing the other Yorkie's pig ears.
And they get mad. Oh,
yeah. So yeah, we don't do that anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, when we're not home, the bones go up so they don't fight over them.
Yes. Well, there's only so many places.
Of course, the German Shepherd finished her bone in one day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There was nothing left but a pile of shards.
Crunch, pop, and it's gone. Yeah. Crunch, pop, and gulp.
But yeah, he's enjoying getting that marrow out of there. That's his fun thing.
Oh yeah.
All right. So first on to even more bad news for the day is this horrible story coming out of Skamania County, Washington. 2 Portland men lost their lives while searching for Sasquatch in eastern Skamania County on December 25th, 2024 at around 1 a.m. The Skamania County Communications Center received a report of 2 overdue subjects who were searching for Sasquatch and planned to return home on Christmas Eve. When the pair did not return home, a family member reported the subjects missing and endangered. Flock camera footage was accessed. That's the plate readers. Flock camera footage was accessed based on this information provided. A recently installed flock camera did locate the associated vehicle with the missing endangered subjects, allowing a Skamania County Sheriff's Office search and rescue coordinator to assist in locating the missing subject's vehicle off of Oklahoma Road near Willard, Washington. Over the course of 3 days, the Skamania County Sheriff's Office search and rescue coordinator acquired over 60 volunteer search and rescue personnel, including canine, drone, and ground searching teams. Additionally, an air asset was acquired from the United States Coast Guard based in Astoria, Oregon, to assist in utilizing FLIR. After a grueling 3-day search over difficult terrain and harsh weather conditions, the 59-year-old male and 37-year-old male, both from Portland, Oregon, who were reported missing, endangered, were located deceased in a heavily wooded area of the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. Oh. Both deaths appear to be due to exposure based on weather conditions and ill preparedness.
Wow.
So,
hate that.
Too bad. And they have yet to name them, so it may even be more of a shock to the community in a few days, because we may know who
do we know who it is?
So we shall see. But again, it's all about the emergency preparedness. And I who knows what would exactly happen? Maybe in future more details would come about, and they died of exposure. Probably because they got lost.
Very possible.
Yes. And
well, I'm a firm believer in if you're going somewhere where you're not really familiar with, to take a compass and catch your reading before you take off.
And again, they were in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, which is not near Portland, Oregon. So obviously they weren't familiar with it.
Right.
So that's really
well, that's bad, man. But these sort of things happen every year around Christmas time, and usually it happens to someone in California when they're going out to search for a Christmas tree. They'll usually end up getting lost, and they'll die from exposure because hey, we're just expecting to go cut a Christmas tree. They're not expecting to.
Know your terrain, be prepared, have some emergency blankets, some way of creating a fire. And know what the weather's going to be.
That's a good point, Grant, because maybe we don't know, maybe they got into a storm that they weren't aware that was fixing to happen.
Danny State, no, we just had mentioned nobody knows who they are just yet. I'm sure over the coming days we may find out, especially if they were known within the Bigfoot community. If they're not known within the Bigfoot community, for all we know, they could be just a couple of people that aren't even involved in the Bigfoot community. So, hey, we're going to go out looking for Sasquatch. Let's go. It sounds like a fun thing to do. Just the wrong time of year.
Well, that's Steve's Curious Cryptids area stomping ground up there in the Pacific Northwest. Mm-hmm. He knows how rough the weather can get. Snap of a finger.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's the wrong time of year to be doing this. People ask me a lot of times, don't you go out in wintertime? No. Number one, a lot of my areas are closed off. And number two, what if you do get one of these freak snowstorms and the weather, like I said, in New York, the weather is schizophrenic.
Right.
You know, you can be up on that mountain and it'll say freezing rain, and you'll get rain. Some
Right.
days they'll say rain and you'll get freezing rain. You just don't know.
And there's just, I mean, I don't know about the Pacific Northwest, but there's not a lot of activity in Kentucky during the winter months. It seems like they're either not hanging around here,
Right.
or they're holed up somewhere.
Yep.
But the spring and fall, that's when they seem to be moving around, doing whatever they do.
So let's get on to our main topic of night. Get off some of the sad stuff.
Yeah.
But then we'll. But before we get on to the main, one thing I got to say is that we are going into 2025, Chris. You know what that means?
It means we're going to start writing different dates on the checks.
Yeah. Well, who writes checks anymore? Hell, these Gen Zers can't even. How do you write a check?
Oh man.
So,
oh
yeah, and also there was a news report.
Julian Sands. Yeah, he was that guy from
the movie The Warlock. Yes.
Yeah.
The Warlock. What was I saying?
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Oh yeah. 2025. Yeah. So we're coming into 2025. You know what that means, Chris?
Come on, tell me.
We are under the 2-year mark before this show hits its 20-year anniversary. Almost 20 years. We've been doing it now for just over 18 years.
Oh, wow. That's great.
18 years we've been doing this. I mean, I've been on the air pretty much. I mean, there's been times we've taken a few months off here, a few months off there, for different reasons, but we've been consistently on the radio every year.
Yeah.
Since 2006. That's amazing. So many different people we've talked to. So many people that, even those we've lost, people like Mitch Waite and who's the guy from West Virginia? I mean, just so many. JC Johnson.
JC. I hated that. Oh man. JC was on with us. I mean, not all the time, but pretty often. And JC, man, he was a cut up. I mean, you just, during the show, of course, JC was always entertaining and informative. But after the show, man, he had me in stitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. But it happens. We all. If you live to be 100 years old like Jimmy Carter did, you're doing great. But you never know, man. Tomorrow is not promised.
Right. Tomorrow's not a guarantee, so live your day like your last.
Yeah, that's right.
Geez, Mitch Waite. So many people. Yeah, they just escape my mind, and I don't know what to say. I mean, I Joe. Who can forget Joe?
Yeah.
God, I miss Joe. And he's been gone just over a year now. It's hard to believe.
Yeah. And, and you think about it too. Grover Krantz did not get a chance to see what would happen with the internet phenomena that had become Bigfoot.
Right.
He never got a chance to see that. All the information sharing and stuff, he never got a chance to see any of that. Or, it's terrible. I wish Grover Krantz could be here with us, to just experience, the widespread, it's a social construct. I mean, people really get together, talk about Bigfoot. And whereas before in his time, I think at that time, there's like you had to write to get a newsletter or a monthly report or something.
Oh, and there was the great Ray Crow newsletter at the time, as well as Danny Perez's The Bigfoot Times.
Yeah.
Some really good articles out there. Bill Green had a East Coast version of it too, believe it or not. And I look at Bill Green now, and it's amazing. Bill Green and I are exactly the same age. I think we have the same birthday too, almost.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. But the poor guy is in assisted living.
Yeah.
At that age, I mean, wow, that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Jen said that's why I take a Western New York Instagram t-shirt with me everywhere I go. It makes me feel like Joe gets to take part. Yeah. God, I miss Joe. Joe is always fun. Very, it's amazing that when you create something like this, you end up gathering a lot of like-minded individuals. And we do have some of our minor differences, but who cares? We're all in this to discover this creature and hopefully bring it to discovery at some point in time, or at least discuss the possibilities, which is amazing. But one thing we always have done here is always told the truth and always have, shot for the stars and doing, bringing you stuff that normally isn't brought anywhere else. So, and that's what we're going to do tonight with this video from South Carolina, which, we really don't have a lot of information on. And as I watch this more and more, and there's really not much you can do with any kind of enhancements or anything like that. But as I watch it more and more, we're going to have a side-by-side viewing of it tonight, along with the audio. But we have one side, the left side will be the regular one that was found off, I believe, the Instagram an Instagram page, and the other one is the original video that was uploaded to TikTok, but we have enhanced that video to zoom in a little more and add a little sharpness to the video for the zooming in. Hopefully will be a little clearer than just looking like blurry. So we shall I want to run this at least once and see what our audience thinks, and see if Chris and I had a brief discussion over it just previous. We didn't have a lot of prep time tonight, but Chris is actually saw it, I think, for the first time tonight.
Yeah. Yep.
And Chris automatically picked out what I was picking out. So we'll see what happens. Now, in no way this guy ever uses the word Bigfoot or Sasquatch, but he does say whatever it is, it's really big and it can't be a bear. You'll get the gist. Now, again, I remind everybody, and I remind those out there in YouTube land, that this video is being shown under fair use, and we will be up here commenting on it as it goes on. So it cannot be, this is not a copyright infringement. This is for the purpose of news reporting, commentary, and possible analysis. So here we go. Here's the video.
I hope you can hear this. It sounds like gorillas fighting in the tree.
Sounds like gorillas fighting in the tree. Okay, just keep that in mind.
Breaking limbs bigger around than me. I've never seen anything like it in my life. This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. And I still cannot figure out what it is. Look, they're ruining this freaking place. What in God's name is it? It's bigger than me, whatever it is. Because it's breaking limbs off that it would take me 2 minutes to saw. Look, see, he's coming right above me right here. He's fixing to throw something at me, whatever it is. Yeah, they don't like you messing with them. Look. What in God's name is going on?
He's about to face me on the foot. That's a healthy tree that he just broke. I think I'm gonna bounce because I think he just hit the ground, which means he's about to face me on the foot. And I don't really want to wrestle with somebody that can tear trees down.
Look, that's bigger than me. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that.
God, look at the tree. He just freaking broke
What in Jesus' name is doing this? Oh my God, he just took half the tree down. Something, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, it's gotta be I don't even think a bear would have a chance in Hades and it doing this. It's something stronger than a bear. And he is pissed. Yeah, that's a healthy tree. About 8 to 10, maybe even 12 inches in diameter that he just broke because he's pissed because I'm getting close to him.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to bounce because I think he just hit the ground, which means he's about to face me on foot. And I don't really want to wrestle with somebody that can tear trees down just because they're mad. My God, look at the tree he just freaking broke in half.
Wow. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I kept wondering why the guy's turning the lights off when we're getting right to the noisy part. You know, I want to see what's making all that noise.
Give me 1 second. I'm working on one other thing here. There we go.
And I didn't see any eye shine. I didn't see anything up in the tree. But, I just kept thinking the whole time I'm watching this, if I had been out there with a light and something was in the tree, I could have put that light on whatever was in the tree. I wouldn't just be, panning around, turning the light off.
So now we have some answers, at least to this point of view here. Apparently, this video, thanks to, I forget who was saying, check out this video called God and Sasquatch. I forget who said that. There is Kaiju Ninja 1985. And this was posted on May 26th of 2022. So it's not a new video.
Yeah, it's all.
And now at least we have some description that this happened to me when I was headed to fish in an apartment lake around 11 p.m. Approximately 30 seconds after I quit the video, the entire tree popped so loud and then fell. I got out of there. So there you have it. That's the origins of it.
Well, with that tree, not all of it was alive either. It had some dead branches in
right.
there.
Let's one of the things that concerns me is that he says, "Oh, this is a healthy tree," but as we look at after the tree falls, that does not look like a healthy tree to me.
No.
You see, all the other trees around it have branches on it,
Right,
or leaves on it.
Yeah, got you.
Right. So it's not a healthy tree that's there.
No.
The flashlight conveniently goes off several times.
Yeah, especially when it's making a lot of noise.
Right.
That'd be the big time when you can see what's moving up there if it's making a lot of noise, and we turn our flashlight off during that moment. Why? Wow.
The other interesting thing is that this is not a remote area.
No.
How can we tell? Because that is an interstate or a very busy thoroughfare behind him.
Yeah.
If you can't, right.
Going on
if you hear at the very beginning when he says, "Oh, I hear a lot of, sounds like gorillas fighting." Well, we never hear that, do we? Not once. But what we do hear is a lot of traffic. Take a listen.
I hope you can hear this. It sounds like
Yeah, I can hardly hear it because of the traffic behind you.
gorillas fighting in the tree. They're breaking limbs bigger around than me. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Now, when you hear that kind of noise, that kind of has me a little interested. That's not. Now, I have a theory as to what's going on. He says it's 11:30 at night, but we don't know that for sure. It sounds a lot of traffic for 11:30 at night. Just
Right.
so I want to say, sounds like more. It's like rush hour, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Let's keep on going.
This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. And I still cannot figure out what it is. Look, they're ruining this freaking place. What in God's name is it? It's bigger than me, whatever it is. Because it's breaking limbs off that it would take me 2 minutes to saw. Look, see, he's coming right above me right here. He's fixing to throw something at me, whatever it is.
I'll see.
Yeah, they don't like you messing with them. Look. What in God's name is going on?
Well,
Hang on, Chris. Yep. Go ahead. Please stop it if you need to stop it. I'm working on something right now. What's up, Chris?
well, I'm just saying this is frustrating because does he expect this Bigfoot to weigh like the same as a squirrel because he's going way on the outer edge of these little skinny tippy top limbs looking for Bigfoot, and he's not going up the base of the tree and then moving out to the large limbs. So something's going on. I think something is happening in behind those small limbs we're looking at. He's showing in the video. You can't have a big full-grown Bigfoot or even possibly you could have a youth, but if he's on a limb the size of your thumb diameter, that's not going to work. But I think it's in a tree behind this one, is what I think, or a limb behind that one. Just frustrating.
I'm having trouble right now trying to get this, pardon my French, fucking thing to work. It's a little annoying.
Well, and the thing, the other thing that aggravates me is what he's talking about it, but he keeps on panning the camera back and forth. Well, if he could find the spot, if he's under there and he knows where the noise is coming from, why not zoom in and put the light in there and then, search that area for what's making the noise? It kills me.
Well, the one concerning thing is you never hear these gorilla sounds. You never hear any animal sounds whatsoever.
No animal sounds whatsoever. No.
Right.
You hear tree branches breaking, which could be happening on its own. But I tend to believe there's something up in the tree. I do. But not where he's showing us. If he would have moved around a little bit and got another vantage point, I think we could have seen. But he already said he didn't want to go underneath it because we were throwing limbs on it.
So nautical twilight, which was where it gets dark, would be at 9:17 p.m. on May 21st, 2022. That becomes important because we want to see if, but
it's definitely warmer weather because those trees are on and the leaves are on and they're green, so it's definitely warmer weather. he's not doing this in the wintertime or anything. Not even the fall. So either spring or summer.
And like I said, does that look like what I dare think happened is that you have, maybe a son, maybe somebody else, because there is such a thing as night work, a tree night work,
Yeah.
because of certain ordinances, they do not allow tree removal during the day. And what they were doing was clearing some of that dead tree limbs off there so they don't get in a windstorm and blow onto the cottages and to the houses.
Very well. It could be. Yeah. It could be. They may have these limbs already partially sawed and they're down there underneath with a rope pulling. Anything.
And if you obviously this tree is dead here, and it wasn't, and you can look at it very clearly. Some of those limbs look cut. Especially, the ones that extend outwardly, especially in that one in the lower right-hand corner.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. So, is it perhaps a porcupine in the tree? I don't know. That we would have to ask our resident expert up in Vermont. But what I'm seeing here is a contradictory statement. Oh, those trees are alive and they're very healthy trees. That does not look like a healthy tree. I've been in the woods enough to know and owned enough property or been in enough property with dead trees on it to say those are dead trees. And maybe there's somebody at the bottom shaking them, and the few branches that have leaves on them are falling off because the tree has gotten brittle, which is very common in New York. We have so much dead tree fall in New York. It's unreal. When I go out in the forests, I go, oh, that tree's dead. And you can push it right over with a hand.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not a healthy tree.
Right.
Although, we see some leaves on part of it. Part that's got bare branches, that part's dead.
Right.
And you could probably snap those off pretty easy.
Right. That's right, Pancho. I agree too. I thought about ropes and maybe block and tackle. That could be why the flashlight's going off at certain times too.
That's what gets me, As soon as we get rid
and it's very Jay Carey says, I think you'd hear whatever equipment was pulling limbs out in that tree. Very true. I don't think this is a profession, whatever it is, it's not a company. Look at the geography. It's behind a couple of houses, and there's some houses behind it as well. May not be an area that's susceptible to getting equipment in there. Who knows? I don't think they would be chainsawing that time of night.
No.
So somebody decided, hey, let's just take down some of these limbs here. So if there's a windstorm the next day or the next week, these branches don't come flying, crashing down and or bringing the whole tree down. So they bring the tree down, quote unquote, controlled. You would think that there would be some other neighbors out there. You would think that somebody would make a phone call to a law enforcement agency or a fish and game agency saying, hey, there is something in my tree that's bringing it down.
Right.
That was not done. Let's face it. If you got a big cat or a bear or anything like that that's tearing down a tree, you're calling fish and game, or you're calling law enforcement to get a hold of fish and game.
Yeah. And this is located in North Carolina, so a bear is not out of the possibility.
No, Jen, they're not making time and effort to do it. They're taking down the tree. What's there to this? Okay, we're taking down some of these tree limbs. What's there to it? Oh my goodness! Look, there's a big, there's something tearing down the tree over here. That's not a lot of time and effort. They're taking down the tree anyway, right? Because it's dead tree. And you hear what's with the interstate nearby? I mean, you hear a very busy interstate nearby. Yeah. How many Bigfoot do you know that run around and stomp around near a big, and you're in a suburban area? If you look at that film, you see at least 3 houses there, just in that little frame that you see. You see one there, one behind, and then there's one behind the trees as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the tree is right behind the deck on the back of the house.
And there is another thing, too. Those tree limbs are so dead, and those tree limbs are too damn skitty to hide. And thank you, Kay Curtis. Welcome to the show. Jen, at dead of night, you don't know what time it is. I just said nautical twilight was 9:45. That's not the dead of night, right? And if it's the dead of night, why is there so much traffic on the road?
Yeah.
Right.
And I wanted to mention this.
The traffic when I'm hearing and on the interstate is not indicative of being in the dead of night.
No.
Right.
That's a busy interstate going on in there. But with new member, right when you started the video.
Yes, Dino Crocata Gigantea. Thank you for becoming a member time.
Gigantea. Thank you.
Right.
Welcome to new members.
No, I agree, Poncho. 9:45 is night, but when people say in the dead of night, that's like 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, where people are sleeping. It's 9:45. People aren't asleep in bed. Most people are not. And like I said, why isn't there other neighbors out there? Why is there traffic nearby?
The areas that he's showing on this tree are not big enough to support the weight of a Bigfoot.
Right. I mean, what evidence is there at all that there's a Bigfoot in those trees? Zero. We see inference. We see Sasquatch or God, as the video put it. Really? Sasquatch is going to just climb a tree in a suburban neighborhood near a busy interstate and start throwing stuff down. For what reason? What reason? That's right. Let's think about logic here, folks. You're showing people that say, oh, this has got to be a Bigfoot. It's confirmation bias. There is no evidence. As an investigator, if you use investigatory principle and scientific principle, there is zero evidence that this is a Bigfoot other than an inference on a YouTube title.
Yeah.
Or an Instagram title. Or a TikTok title. That's the only inference. Well, what could it be then? Could be a lot of things. Could be humans. Maybe they're not removing the tree. Maybe the son said, hey, Dad, I'll go shake the tree and I'll make some branches come down. I'll keep shaking the tree. Right?
Right.
And there's not a lot of effort into that. I can go out and shake a tree. A couple of people want to play a prank. Let's put a YouTube video out there.
Oh, man.
Gotcha, Jen. Gotcha. Agreed. So we're all on the same page there, Jen. I'm glad to see that. But people that were automatically default that this is a Sasquatch is completely confirmation bias. It's wanting it to be a Bigfoot. It's kind of like those tree breaks and bends you see in the forests. Oh, it's Bigfoot. Well, what other evidence do you have that it's Bigfoot? Well, what else could be doing it? Well, whether this, that, there's like 5,000 different explanations what could be doing it. But we just want a tunnel vision and go, oh, it's Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot. And that is a really big swamp gas. There we go.
That's a good one.
It was a man in black up in the tree. That's what
I would be, I would be acceptable to the swamp gas explanation more than I would the Bigfoot explanation. Unless, the Bigfoot is invisible.
Or how about just plain old gas?
Well, I mean, you'd have to be you'd have to be levitating to be out there on those scrawny limbs, even if it was a small creature.
Well, hot air rises.
Exactly. But there's no sighting of the creature. I mean, you can't see, you can't make it out. There's nothing there. There's no eye shine.
He says now. You see that the TikTok versions and the Instagram versions cut off a little early because while I was playing and I wasn't really paying attention, I was actually watching the video on YouTube, which is a little bit longer, right? And it is actually not in the vertical format; it's in the horizontal format.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know about this particular one, so. But unfortunately, some people scour videos all the time. I don't have time to do it all the time. When I was sitting back at home, nursing a bad neck injury, then I had time to do it. And even that was kind of painful at times.
It's a weather balloon. No, it's a New Jersey drone. Yeah.
No, it definitely was not a flip phone video. I think it was phone. I think it was filmed with an iPhone and a flashlight, because that's why when he turned the flashlight off, it would be dark. So he's not using a device. And there's no comments. Comments have been turned off for the video. It's over 2 years old, as we just learned this tonight.
Right.
Um,
Tree trimmers, or the guys, arborists, I'll say, they usually will carry, or a lot of them, I'm not going to say everybody does it, but they'll carry a grapple hook on a rope. They can swing that thing up in a tree, and some of those guys are really good at it. Hang that on a dead limb, give it a yank, and then the limb comes
right.
down.
And that could be why the flashlight is being turned off. Right. Because when they're chucking that grappling hook,
right,
and then they start to tug, and things start to fall, and eventually the limb goes, and then the rest of it comes down. That's what I think is really going on there.
Exactly.
Right. Not too complicated of a hoax, especially when you have a lot of dead trees, which you do. We've seen that on the video. No matter what the guy says, oh, that was a perfectly good tree. Where?
No. Yeah, it wasn't. It was. It was like I had a lot of dead material there in that tree. So you put a hook on. You swing your hook up there, right, and give the rope a yank, and then pop, crack, snap.
So we do have some context now. But I find it very interesting that the just the way the wording of that one was said. This happened to me when I was headed to fish at an apartment lake around 11 p.m. Now it sounds like to me, from the audio narration, that he had lived there, not that he was just headed there. I mean, it could be all right.
Well, he's on
approximately
the
30 seconds after I quit videoing, the entire tree popped so loud and then fell. I got out of there. Well, that's not true either, because the video in of
I think
itself,
a bear would have a chance in Hades, and
the video in of itself is over 3 minutes long. Right? So by the own description, it says, the video is 3 minutes and 29 seconds long, and we've clipped out about another 5 or 6 or 10 seconds of it. Approximately 30 seconds after I quit videoing the entire tree, popped so loud and then fell, I got out of there. But on the video, it states I got out of there because the big one came down and it's on the ground.
He is pissed. Yeah, that's a healthy tree.
No, it's not. That's a very dead tree there.
10, maybe even 12 inches in diameter.
Dead tree
that he just broke.
There's a couple of
dead trees. Because I'm getting close to him.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna bounce, because I think he just.
It's not really worthy of a hope.
Which means he's about to face me on foot, and I don't really want to wrestle with somebody that can tear a tree.
Well, a hoax is a hoax.
Yeah. He's trying to gaslight everybody and infer that it's Bigfoot.
Right. I mean, if you're talking about gaslighting, gaslighting is technically you're being made to think that your line of thinking is wrong or that you're crazy. That's gaslighting. That is the technical definition of gaslighting, not trying to hoax somebody and say it's and try to allude to it. It's something else. It's somebody.
Because you can't see Bigfoot doesn't mean it's not Bigfoot.
Right.
You're just not seeing it. Of course, it could be an invisible Bigfoot, one of those.
Right.
But he's pretty thin to be out on some of them skinny branches like that. I don't think one of those would hold me up.
And again, we have said in the past that, like gorillas, when they're very young, they climb trees.
Yes.
and they have that arboreal type foot structure,
Sure.
like the chimpanzees, like other lower primates such as the New World monkeys and stuff like that. They have that opposable toe,
Yep.
which is for grasping branches and such, which is meant for climbing, but they don't climb after a certain age. Why? Because they become less dexterous or dexterous, sorry, and they become they become more weighted.
Yeah.
So the branches don't support their weights like they used to.
Right.
Right. Talk about a 400-pound gorilla, 300-pound gorilla. Even myself, I don't weigh more than 175 pounds now. I can climb a tree and break a lot of branches on the way up. Right. So I know it's not even a blob squatch. It's a zero squatch.
You get to see nothing, no outline,
Right.
no eye shine. And that's what really surprised me. Well, no, that's what I was really looking for was the eye shine, because even if you couldn't see the creature, in behind the leaves or something other, you're going to catch that eye shine. It's like somebody holding reflectors in the background. You're going to see it a little bit.
Right. Now, mind you, and I cover this in What Would Sasquatch Do, but as young primates, we all climb. But as we get older, we become, just like the gorillas, we become weightier and less dexterous. So we avoid climbing. Like if I climb, some of us, in our youth, in our 20s still could climb, 30s, even 40s and 50s or something. Not me. Nope.
I'm not sure they have porcupines in North Carolina. Maybe. I don't know.
I agree, Jen. She said there should have been more audio, but the problem is he only mentions, it sounds like we have a couple of gorillas fighting. There's a lot of allusions. And when I say not allusions with an ALLUSIONS, allusions to it being a Bigfoot without saying the word Bigfoot. And sometimes that in of itself could be indicative of a hoax.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to tell them. That way, if anybody asks me, I can say, I never said it was Bigfoot. That's all on you, right? So, yeah, it could be a form of gaslighting, perhaps, if somebody says it's Bigfoot. But considering that they came out with a video and posted it on YouTube called Sasquatch or God, they've inferred pretty clearly it's, they believe it's Bigfoot.
Yeah. No animal.
Agreed. You would hear, if it was a bear, you'd hear their mouth smacking, which they do when they're under stress. You would probably likely see a bear up there wandering around, but I don't see anything doing that, except this is a human that may have been chucking a grappling hook or something around or a branch.
That's why my money's on. My money is on a grappling hook on the end of a rope, breaking dead limbs off a tree.
Right.
And it was probably being done intentionally because
and like Steve said, all that movement, not saying it's fake, but not a glimpse of any creature. And that's probably because they was being taken down with a use of a device such as a grappling hook, or maybe somebody at the bottom just shaking the tree and the dead branches are just breaking off.
Well, I don't know, man. Pretty good sized tree.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of both.
Possibly. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of both. Snap the thing and then start shaking the tree a little bit. Or if they're yanking on the cable like that, it could shake the whole tree and make it look like it's I'm doing that. So yeah. Kaiju Ninja 1985 said what made him think there were gorillas fighting. He said that at the very beginning of the video.
Damn. Just because I hope you can hear this. It sounds like gorillas fighting in the tree.
Right, so that's what he says. But we don't hear any animal vocalizations. He's saying gorillas are fighting in the trees because of the crashes and
they're breaking limbs bigger
breaking
than
limbs. I know. And I agree. Could have been a couple of guys with winches. I think a grappling hook seems a little more. Chris, I think, has got the right idea because, as in a couple of the cases, you see the trees going like that, and that could be somebody just yanking on the grappling hook. Yep. Walter Kroll agrees as well.
Yeah, the convenient darkness from the flashlight being turned off.
Yeah.
You got a Bigfoot supposedly in a tree up right next to you, and you're going to turn the light off. Why?
A couple of at least a couple of times.
My flashlight's going to be on until the battery's drained.
And if you look at it,
Breaking limbs bigger around than me.
if you look at it, I'm going to mute him for a second. If you look at this video, right, the video is always dark, and then you hear popping. Right. And then we go over here, and the video is dark again. Now, that's a very interesting sound. Could that be a miss? Right? Throws it and misses and hits the deck. That's what I think is going on there.
Well, if you notice,
because then watch what happens.
This is the second time I've come over here.
Now, that is the second time I've come over here. And again, we look at what's said on, the video description is weaker than that. I mean, I always look at it from the aspect of we have two versions being told here, right?
Yeah.
We have two versions being told here. Right? Doesn't say this is the second time. This happened to me when I was headed to fish at an apartment lake around 11 p.m. Right? So we know the second part of the statement is not correct. After approximately 30 seconds, I quit videoing when we have a 3.5 minute video, right?
Well, yeah, he's talking about 30 seconds after he turned the camera off, I'm sure. So the tree popped so loud and fell. Well, we can't see
Yeah, but he says approximately 30 seconds after I quit video and the entire tree popped so loud and then fell, I got out of there. What he said was at the end of the video that he's on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of here. Right?
Right.
So it two different stories.
Yes.
Right?
I see where you're going. Yes.
Right? Two different stories. Nowhere does he ever mention it was on the ground in the description. And at the beginning of it, he says, "Oh, I've been there twice. This is the second time." You don't see that there. It says, "This happened to me when I was headed to fish in an apartment around 11 p.m."
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and like you said, that mom says he also said he came back, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm just not liking this one.
no.
And the first time when I got up.
No, but again, as I've always preached, and again, taught to me by Dr. Jeff Meldon to be very, very look at things like this. And as an investigator, you do too. But Meldrum's comment is the devil's in the details. And the details here is that the story, the written account, and the verbal account that's going on don't match. Right. I don't know. I other than that, I don't know what to say.
Now, I do believe that these creatures can and do climb trees, but I don't believe you're going to see them very far away from the trunk of the tree, though, because of their weight.
Right.
They're not able. Those limbs cannot support that kind of weight. But now the main trunk of the tree will.
Right.
But this guy is trying to take us on a ride here. I'm sorry, but I'm not on board.
Right. And Jen, if I Jen Andrews said that if I thought it was genuine Sasquatch, I would have gone back. Anything else, I would not.
Yeah.
Then again, we're not everybody. As Sasquatch researchers, hell yeah, we're going back. The general layman say, I'm out of here. I don't want nothing to do with that. Right?
No, dude, no. If there's a Bigfoot in a Bigfoot up a tree, we're camped out at the bottom of that tree.
Well, yeah, you would be, but unless because we're researchers. That's our modality. That's our mentality. The mentality of a layperson on the street might be either one, this is really interesting, I want to see more, or screw that, I'm an old guy, I'm out of here, I want nothing to do with that. So you can't say for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
You can never predict what somebody can do, and that's something as an investigator. We talk about behaviors a lot. We can't necessarily predict why somebody didn't do something. When you put yourself in their head, that's where you can go off course.
Yeah.
You can only go into their head with which is known. And the fact is, on the video, he says, hey, this is the second time I've been back. Yeah. So he is curious about it. Right. So you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right, Jen. He may have probably would have gone back. Oh, here's what's going on in the daytime. Look at all this mess. Why don't you ever see that?
Well, it's hard for me to believe that he's on somebody's back deck of their house, too. I mean, and he don't know these people.
Right.
No, that would not happen. He's either he lives there or he has a right to be there, permission to be there from the property owner.
Now let's talk about this from a psychological point. Steve brings this up. That was authentic, I believe. As a first-timer non-believer, you would pick up on fear. You're hearing a lot of words about being afraid, but you're seeing actions that are not indicative of fear. For example, if he was truly afraid, he would have stayed on the side of the house where the trees were not. Instead, he goes towards what is bringing him fear. Right?
If you're in the dark with something you think that's a big Sasquatch, do you turn the light off?
I picked up on that too, Batman. Batmom Tessa said that he also talked about it being as one. Then he said they. Yeah. He said that a couple of times. He interchanged. Remember, he starts off with the whole narration of sounds like there's gorillas fighting in the tree.
Yeah.
Right. And then he alludes it to not being a bear. It's too big. It's got to be too. How can he compare size when he doesn't see it? But he's claiming to see it, right? But we never see it on the video. Right. Oh, it just hit the ground. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
We don't see a video of that.
No.
But the funny thing is he says he's getting out of here, and that's when the Instagram video kind of cuts. But we know there's another 30 seconds of video on it from the original.
Yeah, and I kind of want to see on the left side of the tree on the ground over to the left side of the tree, but we never get to see over in that area. We only see the tree and to the right of the tree, right, center, right. We never see the left side of the tree.
Right.
That's a problem for me too.
Correct. You don't see a lot of intricate detail on that. It's almost like he's avoiding certain areas.
Yes.
And like I said, when there are certain times, why did you turn your light off? Why would you turn your light? If you're scared, why would you turn your light off?
Exactly. I was so frightened. I turned my light off. Okay. No. It's just not adding up, man. I'm sorry. It's not. But, if he's trying to make a video for Instagram clicks or something to create people's curiosity, that's okay. I can see where he was going with that. That's a little dishonest.
Right.
But, more likely, people would be just as interested to click on the video and say, hey, these branches were breaking out of this tree.
Right.
Okay, well, no need to say it sounds like gorillas fighting when it clearly doesn't.
And you know what? I looked at this the first few times I looked at it, I'm like, well, that's really interesting. And then the more I'm listening, as when you have very little to go on,
Right.
video wise,
Yeah.
I'm very big. Like there are so many in the community, but like, oh, well, look at the branches. What can do that? Putting that aside, let's listen to what's being said. Let's listen to the background noise. Let's look at the other stuff in the video, because remember, the art of illusion is creating misdirection, because while you're sitting there, you're not seeing me tuck this up my sleeve, and then all of a sudden I go, whoa, boom, and here's a pack of cigarettes, right? So it's about misdirection. While everybody is looking at that tree, look around what's going on around you. Nothing. No neighbors, no dogs barking, no nothing. But what you do hear is a lot of friggin' traffic. And you hear a lot of rumbles of trucks going by.
Yeah.
And if anybody has ever lived near an interstate, which I have at one time, that's an interstate.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, the interstates get quiet late at night. They do. You may hear one go by, but what you're hearing is a constant rumbling behind them, which means you're talking about a heavy traffic flow going on.
There's traffic, right? I can hear big trucks in the background with their Jake brakes on.
So my guess is it's still well before 11 p.m., although he says it's 11 p.m. But I know interstates, and they get very quiet. Like I could sit there and get up and like not hear a thing, and then maybe hear maybe one, but you don't hear this constant
right,
which is going on there. Now, again, Grant makes a good point. He says no emotion, tone was pretty much consistent. This is a problem. He talked too loudly. This is a problem with a lot of police investigators, right? They match up a person's first reaction to the death of a spouse or the death of a child, right? John Benet's Ramsey's parents were kind of scrutinized for the way they reacted. Well, they were reacting based on their IQ. They didn't panic. Okay, this is what we need. Well, the mother was panicked. The father was more calm and concise. He's the man of action, right? So we can't always necessarily base somebody's actions during an event unless we have a baseline. And in this case, there is no baseline. We don't know how he talks when the truth is around him or normal circumstances around him. That's why, as an interrogator, when we sit there and talk to somebody, we don't start off with the event. And that's another mistake a lot of criminal investigators do. They go right to the event. You want to look at a person in the eye. You want to start talking. So tell me about what's your name? Okay. When were you born? Okay. And you're watching them because now you're seeing a baseline. You're looking at them, how they're reacting to truthful questions. Where do you live? How long have you been there? What do you do for a living? How long have you been at working there? What'd you do before that? Where'd you go to school? Oh, very, very, very good. Really? Have any kids? Okay. Those are all baseline questions. And the whole purpose of an interrogator asking those questions, when you can readily find that out online or find it out in other ways, the reason why I'm asking the suspect or the potential suspect that way is I'm watching how they're reacting.
Yeah.
Right.
Then baseline for later questioning.
Right. Then when I start asking him questions on things, then you start to see, and this is way better than a lie detector test, which is just something telling you, hey, they're lying. You can actually see this and feel that, and that's what makes it, because people are dynamic.
Oh, and it Cryptic Crystal, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Great, thank you.
People are dynamic. So when you sit there and start to interrogate them and you start getting them uncomfortable, you will see shifts that you cannot deny, right? Indicators, big indicators, body language indicators. People There are people out there that have that natural ability to see liars. And that is just based on their experience watching body language throughout their life. And well, I don't know why. Well, do you know why? Because you've seen liars before and you've alerted to them before,
Yeah.
right? The whole thing about being a trained interrogator and learning body language and neurolinguistics and stuff like that is so you can fine tooth comb that. Because let's face it, there are some days you're just not on your game. We've always let somebody in our normal lives slip by with a lie or a deception or something like that. Like, oh shit, the guy lied to me. What the hell? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because
Well,
we're not always on our game. Right. We're not always on our
You don't call it every time when you know somebody's lying to you. You don't call it. You know,
right.
I've experienced that a lot. And if I would have called every lie that was told to me, you know, there wouldn't have been much of a conversation.
So when you look at a video like this, you're not left with really a baseline of, you know, how his inflection would be or if he's using. There might be some key indicators that he's making a deception, but I did not detect anything there necessarily. But one thing I do not note is I'm not detecting a lot of fear, although he says there's fear, because when you tend to get fearful reactions, you tend to get breathy.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, what the hell? You know, you tend to get breathy.
And it's not overplayed either.
Right.
You know.
Right. And in this case, he seems very, oh, what the heck's going on here? Look, he's pulling that whole damn tree down. Look at that. He just ruined that whole tree. You know, it's dangerous out here. You know, he's dropping stuff on me. And you know, yeah, I do detect there is some little bit of neuro-linguistic flavor there. It doesn't seem, or some physiological
right.
Vocal terms that, you know, if you're listening to his voice, it physiologically doesn't match that of somebody that is genuinely in fear of their life. Because let's face it, if you're out there with something dropping tree limbs down on you, that is a life-threatening situation there.
Oh, sure.
Why would you move towards it? Especially when you say you're afraid of it. Why would you go back? Why would you not call Fish and Game? Why would you not call law enforcement? Why wouldn't you call your local damn botanist or the ASPCA? Right? Nothing. Right.
Yeah, I think this was a creation just for clicks. I think that's what this was.
I you know what? Maybe not. I didn't really look at that channel and see their other videos or anything like that to see what was going on. That may be the only video on their channel. I don't know.
Yeah.
See, and now see, that's a person using their little detective skills. Looks like a newer upper middle class house, probably newer suburb, not likely the location for a Sasquatch. Very well. We've already mentioned it was in the burbs. It looked like there's a lot of houses around. The fact is that they do look kind of newer construction. So it's rather a recent development. But then again, that could be a good reason why there is a Sasquatch there, because it's a newer development. That was formerly their home, right? Yeah. So you kind of, that one's kind of tough to balance out. I can have you always look at the counter arguments against one thing versus the other. You know,
he mentions a lake. He mentions a lake too. I don't know if this is a lake house or just someplace where they've got it like a little man-made thing in the subdivision there.
Right.
He mentions a lake.
Right. Yes, he does in the written prose. He mentions the lake. Which is interesting because, you know, okay, so a lake near an interstate, in a suburb nearby,
right?
Yeah,
that's a lot of problems. Just right there, man. Just those. That's a lot of problems to overcome for a Bigfoot to be in the area. Now, to me, you know, I don't know everything. I don't know anything. But what I do know is I don't see any activity within 2 miles of a near highway.
The channel on YouTube is all conspiracies all the time. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. Was anybody invited to investigate? Don't know. If they did, they never said anything about it.
Yeah. But I don't think you're going to get any signs of activity within closer than 2 miles of a paved road.
Chris,
Now,
give me 1 second, Chris.
Go ahead, man. There have been situations where, there's been roadside sightings and stuff like that. But if you look, that's not a normal occurrence. I mean, that happens every now and then. Most of the time somebody reports a sighting, they're out, doing a trail hike out in the woods, enjoying nature. So, to me, I think, if you're any closer than 2 miles than a paved highway, you're probably not going to have a sighting. So you got to get out there and do the footwork. And I know it's not fun, especially if you're old and crippled up like me. But you get out there 2 miles beyond the paved highways, that's when you're going to start seeing signs, if there's any in the area. Or that's the way it is around here anyway. Yeah, Jennifer, that's Jennifer Andrews says, go to the beginning of the video. Newly painted wood siding home, 2-story windows. It's newer. Yeah, it's new. The back deck looks really nice. So, what I'm getting the vibe that's a lake house, and he mentions a lake. So I'm kind of getting that vibe, and more than likely behind the house, there's an embankment that goes down to the lake there, and that's where that tree is located. Don't know. Would like to see like an aerial shot of the area in the daytime. That would be great. But supposedly there's a lake around there somewhere. So yeah, I'm thinking this is probably a little subdivision of lake homes that was built. But it's nice and new.
But in South Carolina, that could be anywhere.
Yeah, Robert Denduven says there are reports of road crossings all the time, Chris. I get that. I do. But I don't think.
Well, let's remember that there's plenty of Bigfoot in South Carolina. We're not disputing that.
North Carolina,
or North Carolina, and our good friend Jeff Thomas, aka the Shadow, comes from South Carolina.
Yeah,
and so yep,
absolutely,
and agreed 100%. Sasquatch is actually all animals are attached to water and waterways. Anything that needs to drink,
right.
Anything that needs a drink needs to go to water at some point in time.
They're going to be smart. They're not going to be far away from their water source. That's just, we may go to the fridge and grab a drink. They're going to grab one out of a spring or a local stream.
There are very few mammals in deserts. Remember that. Very few. And the mammals that are there are very specially adapted to be there.
But my point about being, if you want to go look 2 miles out plus from the nearest paved road to find sign. Now that doesn't mean you'll never have any road crossings. There are especially road crossings when there's a lake or a stream or river nearby. Now that's interesting.
Well, Bill, they also live in the jungle, so there is a lot of moisture built into, leaves and branches and tree roots and stuff like that.
Right.
And there's a lot of water in Africa too.
I'm not certain. Bigfoot lives on leaves. They may eat some, right. But it's probably not enough calories for them. Would like to know what they live on, what they eat. Yes.
Well, again, what a Bigfoot may or may not eat depends on where they live. They're adaptable, right? I remember investigating a couple of sightings in Fulton County, New York, very close together. These two sightings were in a very close time, and both of them happened to be near the county dump.
Right.
So the thought was that it was probably hitting the dump a little bit, see what it can scavenge for food or whatever, because there's a lot of food waste. And this again was 2002, 2003, so
Right.
it's a while ago that
Yeah, I believe that's a factual there, that where they live, what they eat depends on where they live. And you remember back in 2010, Steve, I was setting out some food supplies. I won't call it gifting. I just wanted to leave to see if they would take anything. And I left an orange in an area that was hot. I mean, hot. You could find footprints there almost every day. It was hot. And none of them ever touched the orange. Never touched the orange.
not even the regular critters.
You would think, I'm thinking chimpanzees and stuff, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they loved oranges, so they're going to eat this orange. No, not interested whatsoever.
And the reason why?
Yeah, there weren't any wild oranges growing in Kentucky.
Right,
So
so
they probably didn't know what it was.
They see it unless you're being given it specifically, like Jane Goodall did with apples to the chimpanzees. She would give them to them, and she would probably eat one in front of them to see that it's food, right?
Yeah.
And chimpanzees, of course, the Sasquatch would have the same, gorillas would have the same intelligence, monkeys say, oh, they're eating that. That's food. We can eat that, right?
Never touched it. Yeah.
Never touched, yeah. Be like putting a pizza out there.
Yeah.
And that was a funny thing Bruce Hallenbach did back in the 80s at his grandmother's property. His grandmother had few sightings out there.
Right.
During the time of the Kinderhook creature. And by the way, Bruce has an excellent book called The Kinderhook Creature and Beyond. It's available on Amazon. Pick that up. It's a great read.
Right.
Talks a lot about his grandmother, about his little project he did, which he was putting food out. He took the bird feeder off the pedestal and put food on top of the pedestal each night.
Right.
Each night, the food would be taken off into the woods. And sometimes it would be completely gone. Like he put a chicken out there and the chicken disappeared. He put fruits, vegetables, they would all disappear. But the thing that really struck him was he put a pizza on top of the pedestal. And it looked like the box had been ripped open, but nothing ate or took any of the pizza.
Probably, yeah. Didn't know what it was.
Why would you? It's cooked. It's warm. It's it kind of looks weird. And it's probably at that point the cheese probably had congealed a bit. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Right, so
it makes sense. Of course, I was thinking about it, going about this, and kind of relate to the Bigfoot would be just like any other large primate,
right?
And but when you gotta give them put a little humanity into their mind. They have a larger brain than what most primates have, the gorillas and the chimpanzees. So they're probably going to eat only the things they're used to seeing and used to eating. And they may not want to go out on that limb to try something new because it could kill them,
It's like those little red berries, the bird berries, right? They're poisonous. They're laced with strychnine. We learn at a very young age, do not eat those. They look very entertaining. Yeah. And believe it or not, a lot of people did not eat tomatoes during the Revolutionary War time. You know why?
Right, because it's part of the nightshade.
Right. They looked at those little berries, which they knew were laced with strychnine.
Right.
And then they looked at those tomatoes and figured they're just bigger versions of those, right? And actually, it was our third president who brought tomatoes to a public liking, and it was Thomas Jefferson. He would sit there and cut them up and eat them in front of people, and eventually tomato sauce and all the other fun stuff. Yeah, very interesting, useless facts, but it's very interesting in the scheme in the scheme of everything, how things work and how people get influenced to do things. And in a way, culturally, we learn to accept things is very similar to the way chimpanzees, gorillas, and likely the Sasquatch learn to, adapt and learn new things and accept certain foods.
Yeah, if you leave food out for them, make sure it's something that grows in your area. That way they'll know what it is. Like around here, man, yeah, you can leave out some blackberries.
Or a deer or a deer carcass.
I wouldn't try it, but
why not?
They might. Well,
you may draw in some other carnivores too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to be dragging up roadkill for them to experiment with. And I sure wouldn't give them a deer that I'd shot, which I don't go deer hunting.
Well, Jennifer, I can disagree with that statement about Sasquatch will find you when they or them are ready. Now, there's been a lot of sighting reports where the Sasquatch is described as being just as surprised at seeing the human as the human is seeing the Sasquatch, to the point where it stops and then it turns and walks off. And that's the same with any particular thing. Like, for example, I go to a zoo, right? And if I want to visit the rhinoceros pen and see the rhinoceroses, right?
Yeah.
That's because when I'm ready to see the rhinoceroses, I'm going to go over and see them, right? So there are circumstances where, they will search you out when they're ready for you, or when they're curious enough about you, because that is a very bad plight. It's not curiosity didn't kill the cat. Curiosity killed the primates, because primates have this indelible curiosity. We hear something that's danger a lot of times, and initially our first reaction is to look and see what's causing that danger before we react, because that's how our minds work. Whereas dogs, cats, and other fauna, ungulates and stuff like that will go the opposite direction just based on noise alone. So
I think I know what Jennifer is getting at, though. She's talking, I think she's talking about Robert Morgan. He has this he had this whole videotape system he used to put out about contacting the forest people.
And Jennifer, let me Jennifer said, I understand, but you won't see Sasquatch unless you're open enough to see them. That's not true either, because there have been hundreds of reported sightings that say, I never even believed in a Sasquatch. I'm sitting there on my deer stand and I'm getting ready to shoot something, and there's a Sasquatch walking out there.
Right.
So they don't seem very open to seeing a Sasquatch themselves. It's not even in their wheelhouse. So that's not necessarily true either. These are the things we try to tell ourselves because of anthropomorphization, that we are trying to make these things appear more human-like and more intelligent or intelligent as us. They are not, right? They are not. Nobody has seen them use fire. Nobody has seen them use the wheel. Nobody has seen them cook their food. Nobody has seen them make and wear clothing. So they're not as advanced as we are. So let's get that in mind. But what they are is more advanced in their natural habitat, as would be a deer or any other creature of the forest would be. That's my thoughts on that. So
I think Jennifer's got a point too, though. You want to prepare yourself
right
when you go out into the woods about what would give you your best chance to have an encounter, or
as a researcher. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Most people that make the mistake when they go out hiking, they're too busy looking at their feet to stop and take a look around. And which, you don't want to step on a snake or anything. And you kind of watch the trail for rocks and stuff to keep you from tripping. But you want to, get the eyes up off the feet every now and then, even if you got to stop and take in the sighting.
Bill says, hey, now someone gets phone calls from Bigfoot.
Yeah.
He's also become their driving instructor too.
Well, was it Misha? Was that the name of the Bigfoot that drives the car?
Grisha.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Well, I could give Grisha a tractor driving job if she wants to cut some hay, or whatever he or she, it doesn't matter. If Grisha can drive a tractor, hey man, I'm all for it. And we'll pay above minimum.
The apartment, Batmom. No. I made up the apartment. I have no idea what an apartment lake is. Maybe he meant lake apartment. It didn't look like whoever wrote that particular thing was very adept at speaking. This happened to me when I was headed. This happened to me, but it says this happened to me when I was headed to fish at an apartment lake around 11 p.m. What the hell is an apartment lake? Maybe he meant lake apartment, but why would you fish at the apartment?
Maybe an apartment on the lake, maybe. I'm thinking, I don't know.
Right. So, it looks like it was written by somebody not so adept at the necessarily the English language, or maybe they were in a hurry just to put it up there. But usually when you find hoaxers, that's what they do, or pranksters, which this is more like a prank than anything else. Hey, let me get a kick out of making people believe that there's a Bigfoot and they're doing that. No, and I don't want to stereotype anybody, Grant, necessarily about, it's South Carolina education. And smart, smart is a very interesting term. That's why I said advanced. Smart is a perspective. It is a queen ant or a queen bee smarter than us because they have millions and tens of thousands of subservient insects serving them and their needs, right?
Yeah.
So it's really tough to say necessarily smart versus advanced in different advancements in technology and in healthcare and whatever in our political system, which is similar in some circumstances to some particular animal kingdoms, but not because you look at chimpanzees, they have their own political caste system. They have their group leader who has to maintain dominance over everything. And there's politics because if the females start to revolt against the dominant male will lose his dominance. Right. So there's a number of different ways politics does occur in chimpanzees. Of course, chimpanzees being the most being the closest to us. The same differently with the bonobos, where the females are actually the dominant sex in bonobos, believe it or not. And not to get off on an adult topic, but bonobos are the only ones that appear to have, and you know where I'm going with this.
I know.
They're the only other species besides us that appears to have sexual relations for pleasure rather than for production, right?
Yep.
So very interesting about the differences between bonobos and chimpanzees, although they're
randy little rascals.
They're randy rascals.
They're randy little rascals. Yes, they are.
But it's
but these Bigfoot creatures, they're undoubtedly the king of the forest. They know their environment and they know you.
That's probably about intelligence is not knowledge, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you go out in the woods, the Sasquatch is a lot more knowledgeable about their environment than we are of the same environment. That's a very good point. I will use that going forward. I'm gonna steal that one. That's pretty good. Not the quote, but
well, when you take somebody that's been raised in the woods, that's all they've ever known, they're going to be good at it. You're going to know about how things appear, how movements appear to other things,
Right.
and how that they can watch you and without you knowing they're there, and they can move without you knowing they're there.
Right.
They wait for you to start moving.
Right.
Start moving, they move the other way. So your perspective, you don't catch that movement going the same way as the trees that you're walking away from. It's once you get out there and get to playing in the woods, you'll understand a lot more.
So that's the things we really need to remember in any of our endeavors related to Sasquatch, not to anthropomorphize,
Right.
not to anthropocentrize, not to tunnel vision ourselves, to look at every detail around it. Remember misdirection, especially in hoaxes. It's a little bit of magic. We're just going to misdirect you. Everybody's going to be focusing on there and not on things like the sound of the traffic or the fact that this is a suburban neighborhood, that where are the rest of the neighbors, and all these other questions. Like, you have that kind of noise going on, your neighbors to be like, hey, what the hell is going on out there?
Right.
Unless they know about it, right? Like, oh,
Right.
they're pulling down the tree. Okay.
Nobody alerts the neighbors that there's
hey, Jimmy Bob's going to be pulling down that tree in a little bit. Well, so if you're hearing a noise, that's us taking down the tree. All right, thank you much. All right, and next thing you know, they're pulling down the tree.
But I think that would go a long way to explaining this with somebody removing
So
limbs.
Jennifer asks, what distinguishes humans' reality and theirs, meaning the Sasquatch? Reality is your own perception. Remember, perception is reality. Reality is perception. If I feel slighted or cheated by somebody, and that somebody does not feel that way, right? What's the reality of it? It depends on your perspective. Reality is a perspective.
Yeah.
However, truth is not a perspective.
Yeah. Well, reality is reality.
Right. People often confuse reality with truth. And that there's a vast difference there.
Well, I'll tell you what, one reality I believe the reality is these things are out in the woods, and most people, when they're out in the woods, maybe with them, and they don't realize it, they'll hear a twig snap and they'll stop for a second and they'll say, what was that? Oh, it was probably nothing. And then they'll move on rather than stop and taking in the woods around them. What made that twig snap?
So here is a good statement here by Ristel. Squatches know how to survive with nothing. Humans have lost that in general. Well, that depends on your knowledge.
Yes, but we were talking on average. Yeah, you take a human and drop them out in the middle of the wilderness, and they'll be dead within whatever time it takes for them to starve to death.
I dare say that probably about half would survive, because people have that survival streak. They will find a way.
Yes,
right? Based on their knowledge. Hey, if I cut these leaves up and eat those leaves, I have food.
Right.
If I set my hat out there during a rainstorm, I can collect some water to drink.
Yes.
Right. If I bring matches and I'm out in the middle of the forest, I can find something to light on fire for heat.
Right.
Right. So, and there are numbers of if people have, enough knowledge, they will survive. And I think most people do. I think what happens is there's other, like I said, more dynamic things going on, whereas they prioritize differently. Well, I'm going to prioritize trying to get out of these woods, which I am lost in, instead of surviving the night.
Right.
And what ends up happening is that's triage of what's going on is misdirected and causes them to fail.
They're rolling the dice rather than betting on the sure thing.
And then sitting for 8 hours and worry about survival instead of their only way of survival. And it's kind of a panic thing. Their only way of survival is finding their way back to their vehicle or finding a way to a road or something like that. And again, that a lot has to do with the limbic system and what changes in our minds as we are brought up and raised as children. So,
And it can happen to you. I mean, even if you think you're pretty good. My mom and dad years ago got lost in the woods in Cumberland County, Kentucky. They went up to the back hollow of the Turner Hollow.
your parents?
Yes. They went walking, and they walked the better part of a day trying to find their way out of those hills and hollows. And what they finally came up on a fence row. They followed that fence line all the way down to the creek, or the branch, as they called it. Then they followed the branch downstream because they knew that ran to the old home place. But they were gone for most of the day. They had gotten lost.
And 9 months later, Chris was born.
No. But that really happened. And I don't think, of course, I grew up, not grew up every day there, but I spent a lot of time there, especially on the weekends as a child. And I don't think you could get me lost up in there, but you might be able to. But two grown adults went up there and started walking and got lost. Sure did. And had they not found that fence row, they may not made it out. I'm sure that would have been a happy ending. I mean, we could have went up there and found them, of course, but
Or Chris could have had a brother or a sister.
Yes,
later too. Well, we got to figure out the old survival thing. Come on, let's go over
But
here.
it can happen to you, even if you're on just like a Sunday nature trail walk. That's what happened to them. And so far, knock on wood, I've never been lost.
Oh, by the way, Cryptic Crystal made a funny comment. Chris was born half Squatch. That's helping, right? Right. But unlike that dude Mark Zasky, who claims that he's got Sasquatch in his blood because one of his distant relatives was actually a Sasquatch. Okay.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I am a hairy rascal, but I don't think I got any Sasquatch in me.
Yeah, that's right. Nick asked Chris, isn't that the true test for becoming a Kentuckian? Get lost in the woods and find your way home?
Yeah.
Well, you know what that means. Where the hell's Matt Larson?
That's when the children, that's how children are deemed worthy or not. You take them and drop them off in the middle of the woods, and then if they find their way home a week later, well, they're worthy of raising.
And then somebody in the background, damn, now we got to feed them.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, got to admit, been doing this podcast now for 18 years, been involved in Bigfoot research now for, what is it now? 26, 27 years, going on 28.
Yeah.
And there is no shortage of characters out there. Zero, nil. There is no shortage of characters out there. The folks that I met, like, whoa, that person is. I remember going out and we actually entertained this for a little bit. It wasn't my call, but this woman says, well, I can go out there and I can psychically call the Sasquatch.
Mm.
So we all sat and waited. And of course, no Bigfoot showed up. And she said, well, y'all have to be open to it. Like, oh, yeah, right. Yeah, now you're saying that because you couldn't summon one up, but you didn't say that before you said you could. Yeah, it's that kind of nutso stuff that drives me up a tree. Quicker.
Well, years ago, I did listen to a blog talk radio show, and there was a woman on there. I won't mention her name, but she was psychically linked to Sasquatch, and she said that when she went out in the woods, the Sasquatch would control her, and could tell her to walk one way or walk the other way. And I was sitting there thinking, I wonder if it's kind of like a little RC electric vehicle. The Sasquatch are just, making her move around. I'm not sure how that would work. How could they control her?
That it would be that would make me move away that person faster than a fat man in a buffet.
Sasquatch made me do it. I'm sorry I didn't bring Steve home with me tonight. Sasquatch made me do it. Okay. Oh, what? We already had a case like that. Some guy in Oklahoma killed that dude. Said that Sasquatch made him do it.
They're like, hello, Grisha. I need a ride. I just call up Grisha and ask him for a ride.
Well, that's kind of problematic, though. Now, I don't doubt that they have some sort of an ability to, do some sort of, whether you call it infrasound or what, they can do something to you to make you feel creeped out and stuff. But I don't think they can control people by doing that, other than maybe affect their emotions.
Again, that would be
Tennessee Cherokee's got it right. Controlling her with the woo.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, what animal can do that? None. Zip, zero, sing, zip, null, nine, nicht.
Even a human hypnotist, they can only hypnotize somebody to do something that they're willing to do.
Now, Steve, Curious Cryptid, I do have a picture of Grisha getting into a motor vehicle as well.
Yeah, Steve.
Not just a tractor.
Yeah, he can drive a car too. Yeah. He or she, I'm not sure. I think Grisha is a male, though. Look like.
Well, I'm not sure the name Grisha, so I'm trying to be gender neutral.
Well, yeah, okay. Could be Sasha, or
maybe it's a non-binary Sasquatch.
Yes.
I don't know. Not sure.
We want to try to respect the Sasquatch's pronouns. But hey man, if they're using phones, they're driving cars and tractors, what's next? I mean,
remember they left an iPhone in the gifting bowl.
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
And that was before the phone call. That was amazing. That was a good prediction on my part, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So if anybody hasn't seen it, I have a video out called The Gifting Bowl, and made probably about 4 or 5 years ago, where I had pretended to leave different things out for the Sasquatch, and they kept leaving things behind, like a glyph that said hi, and a couple other things. And then finally I said, I left out some really good meat and food and fruit and vegetables. Let's see what it left today. And I go out there and there's an iPhone sitting in the gifting bowl. So it left me an iPhone. And then about 3 months later, it's a big new Brzezinski there from Russia there gets a phone call from Bigfoot.
Long after that video. Yeah. Bigfoot's making a phone call in Russia.
Can't make this stuff up. Not surprisingly, the same guy that said, "Oh, I believe in Janice Carter's," Bigfoot knocking at the door asking for garlic story. Not surprised at all.
Well, and yeah,
my point of that is, as an investigator, a professional investigator, I look at some of it. And there's a lot of good stuff going on out there, but I look at some of this stuff that is just pure and utter ridiculousness. Like, no wonder there's a contingent of people believing that we are crazy. And I hate to point this out, but do you realize the ridicule we're going to get now because these guys went out ill-prepared and died?
Oh, yeah, well.
All these stupid Bigfooters running out there for nothing and dying over nothing and yada yada. I can hear it now. So be prepared for it. It's what's going to happen. And it's why, for the folks that do listen to this program that go out and look for Bigfoot, that's why we always try to do some educational videos throughout the year and talk about different types of equipment and new types of equipment to take you out there, because I've always said, I remember doing a video clip. This goes back like to 2011, where I've said this is serious business. We go out in areas that are dangerous. We need to be prepared for it. We need to think about it. We need to, have the logistics in our head. We need to have pre-planning ahead. We need to have an emergency contingency in our heads. We need to have all of that to go out there in the woods.
And yeah, and you got to base your trip, where you're going, on where it's at. Are you going into some big, huge wilderness area that you could possibly get lost for weeks, or are you going in some place where you could get out pretty quick?
I really hope that the quote unquote missing 411 guy doesn't take advantage of this, saying, oh, well, how do we know a Sasquatch? Because they've already said that they had passed away due to hypothermia. And I dare say he better not disrespect those people's families with that kind of nonsense, because what that does is disrespects the families of those two researchers that passed away.
And I'll bet we're going to find out that this was weather related.
Oh, obviously they said they died from exposure.
Yes,
they've already said that. In fact, it even says right here in the release, and this comes right from the Skamania County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah,
where it said that the both deaths appeared to be due to exposure. So there was no trauma found to them that would be indicative of a fall or of being, predated by some forest dwelling creature.
Right.
And again, in that particular part of, they don't even have grizzly bear there. They only have black bear. The amount areas that grizzly bears exist in the United States is parts of Idaho, parts of Montana, parts of Wyoming predominantly. There are certain parts in like Washington and Oregon that one may wander, but that's usually to the western part of the states, not the eastern part of the states.
Yeah.
So
always, it's a good idea to be prepared. Prepare for the worst. Expect the best. Well, expect the worst.
And Lori says, absolutely, we cannot call ourselves professionals. We can be seekers, investigators, curious.
Yeah.
Let me put it to you this way. Professionals mean you do it for a living, or you do it with utmost competence. And we can all be professional in how we act and behave within this community. Yeah. Does it happen all the time? Even to myself, sometimes I'll make a comment that I regret later. I make it out of anger, or I make it out of trying to be too quick. But we correct the errors of our ways. And frankly, we try to put up with as little nonsense as possible. That's why we kind of look at these videos like we did tonight and kind of put our spin on it where we see it goes wrong. And people may say and may turn around, and for a lot of our new listeners, oh, well, Coles doesn't believe in Bigfoot. Listen, I've had 2 sightings, my own sightings. I know they exist, right? But each investigation, as I've said before, you have to go out with a blank slate to keep that confirmation bias out of your investigation. If you go out there on an investigation, somebody saw a Bigfoot, right? And they saw a Bigfoot. I can't wait to get to the, you're getting to stage 3 where you're trying to make contact or observe their Bigfoot or photograph their Bigfoot or film their Bigfoot or record their Bigfoot. You are already showing your confirmation bias. You have to go in there saying, okay, let's see what they have. Do they really have a Bigfoot problem? Have they really had a sighting? Have they really found legitimate looking footprints? And I want to see them myself, based on my experience, which is a lot now, and make those determinations. And then I will get to that point if that happens, right? But until that point, we're going to have to come in with a blank slate. Did they or did they not? Are they trying to bullshit us? Are they did they misidentify something? Are they panicked? Are they, however?
Well, Brian wants to know if he can hear your encounters.
Well, Brian, we only got 4 minutes to go. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, we are coming back to you. Not this Wednesday night. We're coming back to you. Our next show is next Sunday. Wednesday night is, unless Chris, you want to have a show New Year's Day.
Let's see.
Wednesday is New Year's Day, January 1st.
Yeah, we can.
All right, we'll be back January 1st. We're gonna kick off the new year. We're gonna kick off the new year with an all new Squatch-D TV this Wednesday night, and not next week, but the week after. We're gonna be returning also to our Friday night shows as well. As I volunteered for one more double on Friday, but because now I'm doing 2 doubles a week. I'm doing doubles on Thursday and Friday, or 2 routes. So I feel like the mailman. I come in, get my route, and off I go, make my deliveries, come back, get my route again. And they pay me pretty well, so I can't necessarily complain about that. So you know what? This Wednesday night, Steve will talk about his encounters for Wednesday night Bigfoot.
Very cool.
And we'll do that. We'll again, I'll be spouting off what I've talked about before, but that's all good to go. And then, of course, we'll be back the following Sunday, and then we will be back on our 3-day schedule. So,
Jay, I have an appointment with some homemade wine on New Year's Eve. So New Year's Day, I should be okay.
Right, and I'm sure I'll have a visit with my good buddy Evan Williams.
Yeah.
Maybe even Jim Beam.
I'll be using my homemade Papaw wine.
Very nice. I can't wait to make it down there next year and get sauced on your wine.
Well, we'll do that. I'll make up a special batch. Make some apple wine or something. That apple wine is pretty tough stuff.
I'm sure it is. I have a friend of mine. In fact, he's my old boss. And every Christmas he'd say, "Hey, come on out to the car," and he would give me a bottle of his apple pie moonshine.
Oh wow!
Oh, so good! It went down. I mean, perfect.
Oh yeah,
and it went down so smooth. Those were because you'd end up drinking the whole damn jar.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
And I'd be happy. Woohoo!
Yeah,
because. For people who have seen me on the sauce a little bit, I'm a happy guy. I'm not one of those angry, like, I want to get in the corner and start. I'm like, everything's funny. So anyway, we are done for tonight. Chris, do your thing, brother.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys. And we're always thrilled and honored that you would choose to hang out with us on Sunday nights. We really appreciate it. If it's your first time watching or viewing the channel, I know there's some new names out there. Subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps us with the algorithm, so they say. Smash the thumbs up button. And if you guys are listening on the podcast, come on over to the YouTube channel and check it out. Subscribe to the channel, maybe leave a comment or two. It's youtube.com/SquatchDTV /
Right. Well, it has been a while since I've uploaded. I got about 5 episodes I got to get up there because with the overtime schedule I've been working, I only have 1 day off a week. Yeah. So it's been pretty big. And usually that 1 day I'm here working on tonight's stuff sometimes, depending on what it was. Last week, because we had Jay Bachocha on last week with a great show. Last week was kind of a bye week. I didn't have to do much prep, just the graphics, the promotion, and on we go. Here on my Sunday night, it's graphics, promotion, and prepping any slides and any video and stuff like that for folks to watch.
Happy New Year to everybody. We'll see you on New Year's Day.
That's right, folks. And on behalf of me and Chris, we want to wish everybody a happy and healthy week. We will see you January 1st, 2025 for the first brandy new episode of Squatch-D TV for the year. Everybody raise a glass on New Year's Eve. I'll be thinking of you guys, all of you guys. Love you guys. You are our world. We couldn't do this without you. We appreciate every single one of you. And for even our new people, our lurkers and stuff that we love you guys too. And we will see you all here on the flip side right here on Squatch-D TV. We'll catch you all Wednesday night, New Year's Day.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member. And it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.